Welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy Presents our MLB DFS pitcher picks for Friday, May 26th, 2017. I'm your host, Nick from CWE, and I'm here to break down my three favorite pitchers for tournament play today. As always, you are going to want to pay attention to the weather concerns. We have a game at Coors, and I won't touch on that really in either video, but I will say ahead of time that really both sides of the game are in good position with Antonio Senzatella pitching for Colorado and Carlos Martinez, who's a very good pitcher who could definitely find his way through this, but could also get himself in a lot of trouble very quickly. So I do want to put that out there. That said, I will have some exposure to Martinez. It will not be a lot, but I will have some exposure to him. Let's start things off with probably the riskiest play on today's slate at the pitcher position that I'm going to consider, and that's Hector Santiago of the Minnesota Twins at home against the Tampa Bay Rays. He's $7K on FanDuel. I don't think his price is too far past that on DraftKings. So the big question here is, if he's so risky, why are we even considering this play? Well, he's 6K on DraftKings. This is a night with some pretty big name pitching options to choose from, so that means the price goes along with them. We want to have one of those guys in our lineups. Not a high strikeout guy by any stretch of the imagination. Not a great pitcher. Not a horrible pitcher. Yes, he's been poor over his last two outings. One of those outings was against the Cleveland Indians, who are one of the best offenses in baseball. I still do believe that. And the other against the Kansas City Royals, that have been frustrating for pitchers as of late. Prior to that, though, he had pitched a couple of games, no more than 6 strikeouts. I think that's kind of his ceiling. But if he gives us that tonight, we're going to be happy. And he can. The Tampa Bay Rays are striking out something like 29% of the time against left-handed pitching. The WOBA's down under 300. The ISO is just less than league average. The only real concern is the hard contact that they are getting against left-handed pitching. But 3 out of 4 isn't bad. I mean, if I'm looking at a tournament play and I'm talking about a team that's striking out right around one every 3.5 at bats, if we think that Santiago can give us 6 innings, we're going to get 5 or 6, maybe even 7 strikeouts from him and a decent score for his price. Now, he can always get blown up. There's going to be a bunch of hitters we can consider taking against him. Steven Souza Jr., Tim Beckham kind of pop off the page. But let's ask ourselves that question. Are you really that concerned when you hear those names? I didn't think so. Moving on from there, I'll go with Aaron Nola of the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Right below him on FanDuel is Mike Clevinger, and I think that's going to be something that some people do gravitate to. I don't hate it. They'll be building off of his 8 strikeout, almost no-hit game of the Houston Astros a week and a half ago. But I'd rather go with Nola. I think Nola is one of the aces of the future. This is his second start after coming off of his injury. The Reds outside of Philly aren't a bad team, but aren't a great team either. Nola, we haven't really seen him get going this year because he only had 2 games before leaving the third in the 5th inning after giving up 4 runs. Last time out, first game back, pitched 7 innings of 5 strikeout, 1 earned run ball against the Pirates. I think that he should be able to have a good enough game against the Reds. The problem here with pitching someone from the Phillies is the run support going to be there? The win is a very important element. It takes a 30-point game, which you're kind of not feeling great about at this price, to a 36-point game. Now maybe you're not still feeling as great, but you're feeling a little bit better. That's a big question mark, and it's not because of the opposition necessarily, because I believe it's Tim Adelman on the mound tonight, against the Phillies. So I think he's worth the risk. He's not someone I'm going to play in my cash games for an obvious reason. and that being Max Scherzer is at home against the San Diego Padres. The Padres coming off a series against, well, I don't know why, even though I played them, the Mets. Coming off a series against the Mets, head to Washington to take on Scherzer. Scherzer not really at the top of his game at the present moment, but he's not doing too badly for himself either. He's been floating around that 8 to 11 strikeouts. We know that the Padres are basically the ideal matchup for pitching. Nothing changes about that tonight. I think Scherzer is in an excellent position to produce. Thus, I think he's a guy I'm going to first and foremost in my cash games, and I'm going to have a lot of exposure to him in tournaments. He's not priced up where I think Sale and Kershaw are, so you get a little bit of a break. I think we can come up with some pitching options that will as well kind of reduce the overall negative impact of his price tag. I really like Max Scherzer tonight. So wrap things up, we'll go with Hector Santiago, Aaron Nola, Max Scherzer. Those are three of our favorite tournament pitchers tonight. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to give it the thumbs up below. Head over to Facebook, like us there at Research Fantasy. Follow us at Research and Win on Twitter, and join us again tomorrow.